Welcome to the land of long live play, where greatness is always waiting. Welcome to the PlayStation experience. It is I, your boy Dat Ninja Dev again, and I am joined by my two co-hosts as usual. First up, Mr. Delvin Cox. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing very good. Hello to everyone out there in PSVG land, and more importantly, hello to Jill Scott. How you doing, baby?
Okay. What's it like being in the coronavirus capital of the world right now? Like, not even just the country, the world.
I ain't worried about that right now. I'm trying to holler at Jill Scott.
That's what's up, though.
Ain't worried nothing about no coronavirus. If she got it, I want to get what she got.
If you're gonna go out, might as well go out happy, right?
Yikes! Please be responsible, people. Wear your masks.
Yeah, we can wear masks.
Wear masks. Yeah. That other voice you heard, fresh off her 36th platinum, The Last of Us 2, at that, Miss Haley Nicole Miller, how are you this evening?
I just got off work, and, I come home to Delvin trying to get whoever that is his attention.
First of all, put some respect on her name. It's Miss Jill Scott, all right?
I don't know who she is!
JILLSCOTT. She's awesome. That's all you need to know. She's dope. She's amazing.
Apparently she's in Black Lightning, but this is going to make Delvin mad. I'm literally on the 5th episode.
So disappointing. How dare you disrespect my future wife like that? Just absurd and terrible.
If we're regarding future wives, okay, didn't know that. Didn't come prepared for that conversation.
No, it's okay. I'll school you on that later. Me and you can sit down and drink some Earl Grey tea and discuss.
Ew.
Earl Grey tea.
Ew.
Yeah,
That's
Earl
an
Grey
interesting
tea.
one.
That's disgusting. Get that out of here.
You don't like tea?
No, I don't like tea. I don't like coffee either.
You're a terrible person.
Hating on the tea and
Deal
the
with
coffee.
it.
Not
How you don't like coffee and tea?
Because I don't like coffee.
Coffee is as American as apple pie.
Well, she's Canadian, so
No.
No? Oh.
I'm both.
Damn.
And also, coffee's not American.
It's American enough. We took it over.
It was not an American invention.
We took it over. Much like we do with everything, we still gonna make it our own. Much like America.
That is the American
worse.
way. That is the
that's
American
worse,
way.
right?
That's what we do.
It is.
I was quoting Chidi from The Good Place. Please watch it. It's very good.
Nah.
I'm
okay.
Delvin, have you watched Bit yet?
No, I haven't watched anything. We'll get to what I've watched and what I've played this week. Some spoilers is not much.
Well, let's just get right into it then. What have you been playing and watching?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing whatsoever. I have been doing work all week. As we speak, I am installing an air conditioner in my house.
Oh, and mine was installed earlier this week. My apartment's actually breathable now.
Oh, that's good. That's awesome. Congratulations. It's not fun taking out a window AC when you're on the second floor.
Try being on the third floor.
That's not funny.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
That's some serious multitasking though, to be, podcasting and simultaneously putting in an air conditioner. That's serious business, sir.
How many arms you got, Delvin? Because it's probably more than 2.
Yeah, probably.
Delvin over here living his Octodad life.
Yes.
I've never played that game. I've heard good things, but I can't.
Well, they lied to you.
To play it.
They lied to you. There's no good things about that game. Whoever told you there's good things about Octodad?
Octodad, deadliest catch. Can your wife figure out that she's dating an octopus and somehow has human children?
Well, I'll say this. Good concept, terrible game. Terrible game.
Yeah, I've never played it. I've only seen it, and it looks just like shenanigans.
How about Cat Lateral Damage? Have you seen that one?
I've seen that one. That one was interesting.
I have not.
You are a cat, and the objective of the game is to destroy the room you're in.
That's an interesting concept.
It also has a VR mode.
That's how I saw it. I saw the VR footage of it. So that looks interesting.
Wow.
You get to be the cat.
For reference, I own that game.
Oh, there you go. Did you get the platinum in that one?
No, I bought the game because nobody do what I do. I mean, Donnie and other people do it already, but I game shared with my best friend, and she wanted cat level damage, so.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right.
I played like one level and was like, "This is not for me."
Spoilers. Everybody does that. Like,
yeah, real talk.
Right.
So you've played nothing and you've watched nothing this week? Just housework and work?
Yes.
Nice.
Housework and work, literally.
Nice. What about you, Haley? Have you played anything other than finishing up that platinum?
No, all I did was play The Last of Us Part 2 to get the platinum. I actually got it like this morning at 12:30, I think I got the platinum.
Okay.
Probably just mess around in some games this week while I wait. Probably go back to Mafia 3, actually. Because Mafia 2 is still broken, and so is my camera, apparently. But on the watch front, I finished Season 3 of Arrow, Season 1 of The Flash, have started Season 1 of Supergirl, Season 2 of The Flash, and Season 4 of Arrow to keep going on my rewatch of the Arrowverse. And I also started rewatching The Vampire Diaries, and I'm up to Season 10 on Supernatural, and I have no life.
Hey, you're getting it done.
Also, I watched that Far Cry 6 trailer. Big excite.
I like Far Cry.
Also, I don't know how to pronounce his name, so I don't want to mispronounce it. But I know him from a show that I don't know if many people have watched. He
Breaking
played.
Bad.
That was
no. A little known show called Breaking Bad.
This will shock you. I haven't watched Breaking Bad.
That doesn't shock me at all.
I know him from Revolution.
I used to love that show.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah, he's the bad guy, I want to say?
He's like a secondary antagonist that becomes like a protagonist in season 2.
Yeah.
Plays Major Neville. So
great
show. Very sad it got canceled. Did get wrapped up in like a 4-episode like a 4-part comic online. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I have never even heard of this show.
So essentially the concept of the show is, and just for reference, this show was directed by J.J. Abrams. So yes, lens flare explosions were a thing. Concept of the show is the power goes out, but it never comes back.
Okay.
And then 15 years go by, the world governments fell, militias rose up, yada, yada, yada. And a group of people are trying to figure out why the power went out and if they can turn it back on.
Pretty much the plot. It's a pretty good show.
Also, it's got Billy Burke in it.
That means nothing.
Most people would probably know him as Charlie from Twilight, even if you're not a fan of Twilight.
Why would I know that if I'm not a fan of Twilight?
Because he's one of the most recognizable roles in that movie.
But if I've never seen the movie and I'm not a fan of it, why would I know?
I'm sure your wife has seen the movie.
She has seen some of them, but I doubt if I said Bill Burke, she'd know who that was.
Okay, anywho, he has one of the best lines in that movie ever. And it's like, I just watched a kid I've known my entire life turn into a very large dog.
Good luck. I wonder if Jill Scott likes Twilight.
Huh?
So I wonder if Jill Scott likes Twilight.
Probably not.
I was going to say, hopefully not.
I don't know a lot of people that actually like Twilight besides myself because I'm a loser.
You're not a loser.
Yeah, I wouldn't say all that. My wife liked the books. She hated the movies.
The books are all right. Do not read. I know you're not going to read it, but don't read Life and Death either. It's just awful.
I don't even know what that is.
It's it was released on the 10th anniversary of like the first book coming out, and essentially it's like a gender-bent retelling of Twilight. So
that sounds awful.
So instead of Bella being a girl, it's
okay.
Yeah.
And just for clarification, that book ends with boy version of Bella becoming a vampire, so they don't have to go into that whole hey, magic sperm.
Yeah. Guess what I won't be reading.
Right. Completely lost me. So
What a rambling train of thought.
I've finished Last of Us 2. That's all I've been playing. Did roll them
We'll talk about
credits
it later.
last night at 1:30. So we will finish our spoiler cast. It'll be the final entry in us speaking of The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, and
but
you can hear me get big mad.
that's all I've been doing is just playing that, and now my palate is cleansed and I'm ready for the excellence that will be Ghost of Tsushima.
It better be excellent.
It's gonna be.
Based on how everyone's been talking, even like slightly around the NDAs, I think we're in for a good time.
Yeah. I'm ready. I am ready. But yeah, that's it. I haven't been watching any shows because who has time for that? Just been playing Last of Us 2. Now I'm done, and I won't be touching another video game until Friday.
Yes, you will. That's a lie. We know you will.
No. It's break time. Palate cleansed, ready for Ghosts. That's it.
So now you're gonna watch stuff then, right?
Probably not. It'll probably just be like reruns of The Simpsons and Seinfeld and Twilight Zone.
That's still watching something.
It's more like background noise if you're not really paying
Also,
any attention to it.
Do you guys want a fun fact? People with anxiety tend to rewatch the same shows over and over again because they know how they're going to end. So it's like a comfort zone.
I must have anxiety, man, because I do that all the time.
I don't.
I literally do that all the time.
I just put it on because that's what the wife wants. So, but yeah, she does have anxiety. She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't like surprises and things of that nature. So it's just background noise for us when we fall asleep. Otherwise, I watch whatever the kids are watching, which is typically
SpongeBob.
No, that's SpongeBob. No, it's more like Teen Titans. They love Teen Titans Go.
Oh, ew! Teen Titans Go is awful.
I would disagree. Teen Titans Go, Beast Boy and his music, fantastic.
Okay, let me preface it this way. Teen Titans Go is awful when compared to the original Titans show, which was canceled in favor of Teen Titans Go and not given a proper ending. Teen Titans Go sucks.
I will say this. I'm not a fan of Teen Titans Go, but the Night Begins to Shine episode.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
It's so cool.
It is so cool. And I think a sequel of it just came out. I haven't watched it yet, but
there is a sequel.
I will sit down and watch that.
Heck yeah, man. Like I said, I like the music. I like what they do with the music in that. Like, Beast Boy has some bangers, man. Teen Titans Go is it's fun. I enjoy it. All right, so moving along. Let's get into the questions of the week because we do have quite a few, and we've actually got some quick fire ones that are also pretty cool. So let's just jump right into it. At Damn You Spyro on Twitter. He says the little kid in the Far Cry 6 teaser has the same scar on his eyebrow as Voss from Far Cry 3, aka the best villain of all time. What do you guys think of that? Also, what are your thoughts or expectations on Far Cry 6?
Well, first off, that's just like a Ubisoft thing. For like 6 games in a row, Desmond had the same scar on his lip, and there was no explanation for it. So
there was an explanation for that. That, if you notice, all of his characters, all of his DNA have that scar. That was the link for all of them. So Altair had it. Ezio had it.
Actually, if you look at Altair in Revelations, he doesn't have it because in Assassin's Creed 1, you're playing as Desmond in the Animus, not Altair. You don't actually see Altair. It's Desmond's face.
The scar too, but okay. But that was supposed to be what that scar was about. It was about them sharing the DNA.
My point being is it's just a Ubisoft thing. I don't think the fan rumors that this is a prequel make any like it's obviously a prequel to Far Cry 5 if they're going with the whole in-universe thing because spoiler alert for Far Cry 5, the world freaking ends at the end of Far Cry 5. Like nuclear explosion. So it's obviously a prequel in some way. But I don't think
that was that town.
Yeah.
I'm correct.
It's a whole world, Delvin. New Dawn shows you the rest of the world is the same way.
But New Dawn was the future, like distant future. Like I think that was 20 years from now.
But it shows you the rest of the world fell to nuclear explosions. Like you go to LA and see it like destroyed.
But I think that wasn't that like happened gradually, like the end of Far Cry. Oh shoot, I don't want to spoil that.
They show you nuclear.
I don't want to spoil it.
The game's been out for 3 years. They show you nukes going off in the distance, along like right where you are, and then they show you nukes going off in the distance. Like the whole world dies the moment Joseph hits the button. Regardless, I don't think this is a prequel. I don't think you're playing as Voss or Voss is involved in some way. His character has mentioned, like his voice actor, has mentioned that he's involved with like a game in some way, but I don't think it's this. I'll be honest.
I don't know. Far Cry 6, from just the trailer, it looked like it was actually set further back, like 50s or 60s. So it would seem to be weird to be a prequel of Far Cry 5.
But that doesn't make any sense based on the lighter that I'm going to call him Major Neville because I don't know what his character in Breaking Bad is called. Based on the lighter he lights, it looks like not a lighter that would exist in the 60s.
A blowtorch, basically? I'm pretty sure those have existed as long as cigars have.
As a lighter? I don't think so.
Yeah, I have lots of friends who have smoked cigars, and I feel like those lighters have been around for quite some time. But
well,
just
I'm young,
based
so
on like the car and just the way everything looked, it just kind of seemed like it was set in the 50s and 60s. But who knows? And I don't think you play the kid as a kid. I think you play him grown up later on. So who knows? It would be cool if it was a prequel to Far Cry 3. To be perfectly honest, I think that would be nice. I think that
also the kid's name is Diego, and based on the product description, you play as someone named Danny. So
I got nothing. I didn't really watch a whole lot of it. I only saw just a little brief piece of it. It looks cool. As far as thoughts and expectations, I just expect more Far Cry. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot. I liked Far Cry 5. That was a fun game. I did not play New Dawn. Far Cry 3, that was a nice trip. But as far as this, I expect more Far Cry.
You didn't play New Dawn?
No.
It was fun. It was a good game.
Yeah, just when I found out that you weren't the two chicks on the cover, I was like, I wanted to play.
They're the villains, and they're very good.
I was hoping they weren't the villains. I wanted to play as them, and when I found out that wasn't it, I was like, What about you, Delvin? Any thoughts or expectations for Far Cry 6?
I just want it to be good. Like, I love the Far Cry games. The villains always compelling. I'm glad they got the guy from Breaking Bad, Gus Fring, or Giancarlo. I can't remember his last name.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yes, that's it. Excellent actor, incredible actor. I'm glad somebody finally said, let's make this guy a video game villain. That's something that's cool.
I also like how he just doesn't care about NDAs. He's like, yeah, I'm in a pretty big video game, but I can't talk about it.
A lot of actors do that. Like, not like voice actors, but actors just straight up say, I'm in this game. Like, they don't pay attention to it. I don't know if they know they're not supposed to say it. I guess somebody told me that's one of those things where Hollywood actors, usually when their roles come, they can say straight up, I'm in this movie. And I guess they don't kind of realize in video games that's not the way it's done. But it's
if you say you're in a video game but you can't say the name of it, is that really breaking an NDA to say you're in a video game?
I mean, it does, because it causes people to go look through their IMDb and pay for IMDb Pro to get more info and stuff like that.
I don't think that breaks the NDA, though, of just saying I'm in a video game. Because here's the thing. If I'm in multiple video games, then I'm voicing multiple video games. So just be able to just throw out the obtuse, I'm in a video game and it's a big one. I don't think that really breaks the NDA. That's semantics. So yeah, we just want it to be a good game. So hopefully Far Cry 6
coming out pretty soon too.
We'll meet those expectations. Year. I wish they didn't put a date on it because everything just gets delayed. I wish they would have just said 2021 instead of giving it an actual finite date. Hey, hopefully February they can actually hit it.
Oh, they will.
I wanted it this year. I honestly wanted this year.
Also, just a heads up, Watch Dogs Legion and Valhalla both got dates. Watch Dogs Legion is definitely not coming out on October 29th. I'm just saying it now. That's far too close to Cyberpunk. Ubisoft will definitely move.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to come out on that date. I mean, they've been sitting on that one since last year? It was supposed to come out.
Oh, way before.
Yeah, so I think that date they'll actually hit just because it's already been delayed basically a year. So I think it's fine.
And then
it's fine.
They launched that on the 29th of October, and then 3 weeks later, Assassin's Creed launches 2 days before Cyberpunk.
Yep, we got a lot of games coming up. A lot of games.
Very excited that I now have to split my time between Assassin's Creed and Cyberpunk.
Do you? Just finish one and then play the other one afterwards. It's a split time.
But the trophies, Dev. The trophies.
Spoilers, I'm not splitting no time. I'll play it when I get to it.
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
But also, Miles Morales. What if it comes out around that time period?
Then I'll be playing Miles Morales and I don't care about the rest.
Same here.
Speaking.
I'll be playing Watch Dogs Legion, and then I'll play Cyberpunk, and then I'll play Miles Morales, and yeah, that's how.
You're not going to play Assassin's Creed Vikings, man.
No, I've said that I have zero desire to play anything Viking related. Like, it just doesn't speak to me. I'm good.
So you didn't like God of War either?
I liked God of War. That was Kratos. It wasn't necessarily, he wasn't a Viking.
Norse mythology.
It was Norse mythology, but he wasn't a Viking. And I was playing that because I like the God of War. But as far as I'm concerned, like, Assassin's Creed has lost me. I don't really have any interest in Assassin's Creed at this point because Watch Dogs exists. I like that better at this point because that's what I wanted it to turn into. I'm pretty sure I've said it before. I wanted Assassin's Creed to become the modern day Templars versus Assassins. I'm over all of the history stuff, so I just don't really have any interest in Valhalla at this point.
See, the thing was, I'm pretty sure, like, back before they moved to, like, the origin style of storytelling based on one of the pieces of Eden they had collected, it was called the Shroud. It could revive dead tissue and potentially dead people. I thought they were going to use it on Desmond and then do a whole, like, future game, but then Assassin's Creed games stopped selling, and then Origins came along, and I'm glad the gameplay changed, but I'm sure it changed the way the story was going to go too.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much Assassin's Creed lost me at Black Flag. That was really the last one that I put any kind of considerable time into.
So you wouldn't have even known about the Shroud because the Shroud was revealed at the end of Syndicate.
Nope, didn't play that. Didn't play Syndicate. Didn't play Unity. Barely played Origins. Haven't really played the Odyssey at all. Like, yeah,
Odyssey is so good.
Just it doesn't speak to me at all.
I say as if I'm not biased and don't have 240 hours in that game.
Yeah.
Delvin, any thoughts?
I wonder if Jill Scott likes Assassin's Creed.
Oh my god, I'm gonna blow my brains out.
Why?
She needs to go ahead and make a song about it. AC.
Yeah,
that'd be
I
awesome.
agree.
All right, next question.
Next question comes from at FredFrench207 on Twitter. He says, "Do you think the PS5 should have a Game Pass like service?"
No, because it's not going to, but I'd love for it to.
So then you think it should, or you think it shouldn't?
I don't know.
That was the most non-answer question I heard in my life. No, because it's not, but I think it should, but maybe it won't. What are you talking about?
Hi, I'm on new medications, so sometimes my thoughts go woo. No, it'd be cool if it would, but I actually don't think it's going to.
Yeah, I think that they need to do something just to kind of compete with Game Pass. I don't think they'll do anything similar. Like, I don't think you're going to have a service that's going to give you all of PlayStation's first-party titles day and date they come out for some subscription. But I do think that they need to reimagine PS Now as some sort of backwards compatibility. We talked about it a bit on Game Tech, me and Donnie, and I would really like to see PlayStation Now evolve into a service where you can subscribe to it and have access to all of these games. However, if you have digital licenses tied to your PSN account that has, a digital license for PS3 games or PS1 games, PS2 games, that you should be able to play those through PS Now without having to subscribe. Or if you buy the disc-based version, PS Now allows you to play those disc-based games through their service without having to subscribe. But I think it also needs to add that subscription and have games that don't expire, so soon. Maybe have anything that's a year older, like comes into PS Now, kind of similar to like what EA's service does, where like after a certain amount of time you get all their games. I think if they were to do something more akin to that, it would, actually, bring some people into the fold of PS Now, and they just need to overhaul the interface. The interface, especially on PC, is just god awful.
I think it would be a good thing to do if they did it. Like, I would love to see it. I would love, even if it was just something like, hey, you buy PS Now and you get to play all the classic PS4 games up to The Last of Us 2 on PS5. That would be a super cool thing to do. And it's just for you to know, like, hey, all of our exclusive games are definitely on this service. Like, in terms of the old PS4 on down, our PS4 exclusives, our PS3 exclusives are on this service. And at certain points in time, like once these PS5 games get older, they can just go and fall onto the service themselves. Like, we don't know what, like Miles Morales, for example. Like 6 months down the line, Miles Morales just comes on that service.
Yeah.
I think there's a way they could do it where it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and that just ties into our next question from Joe Boston 617 over on Twitter. He says, what's your elevator pitch on how to make PS Now more relevant? And what do we think the backwards compatibility will be with the new patent that Sony put out? So we just kind of spoke to that. That patent, it just kind of shows like that, you know, all of the games, PS1, PS2, PS3 will be available through cloud services. And I think that if that is truly the case, as long as I don't have to pay to rent that backwards compatibility, if I own the title that I can play it, I think that makes PS Now much more relevant. And it could be something that if they actually push it and bake it into the PS5, that it could be something huge.
Just everyone's taking this patent as like, hey, hell yeah, we're getting backwards compatibility all the way to the beginning. Remember, companies patent things all the time. There's a chance that this is just a patent that they put out there and nothing happens with it. It could just be the same as PS Now is now. But in the event that this actually happens, cool. What Sony needs to do is actually market PS Now in a way that isn't like, oh, this is just our streaming service. Like, mention that you can download, like, for PS4 users, mention that you can download the PS4 games to your console. You can stream the PS3. Maybe update your service to allow older games to have access to the DLC. Because let me tell you, if I'm playing Fallout 3 over PS Now on my PS4, I want to be able to play the DLC. For one, for two, maybe improve the latency because in some games it's just not good.
Yeah, it needs definitely an overhaul, and I do agree they need to market it. But I think what they've been doing now is like they let you know that there are games out there just to kind of keep it in the back of your mind, and I'm hoping that that will lead into much more, marketing around the service by the time the PS5 comes out as part of the PS5 package. That is what I'm hoping for. We will see if that truly comes to fruition. All right, so our last question comes from at MTTG Brazil team, Mr. Lucas Ham Fisher. He says, here's some video game quick fires for you. First person or third person?
Third person.
Third person.
Third person. RPG or pure action?
RPG.
This is a hard one.
I'm RPG.
You know what? I'm going to say RPG.
All right. Subtitles or no subtitles?
Subtitles.
No sub.
I'm on
No
the
sub.
subtitle train. Give me the subtitles. Open world or linear?
Open world.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me.
It depends on the game.
Yeah, same here.
It's quick fire. You can't say it depends on the game. You need an answer.
I would say linear then.
Yeah,
linear.
I'm kind of also leaning towards linear at this point. Inverted or normal human?
Normal human.
Normal human.
Normal.
Chris McCracken, get out of here with your inverted nonsense.
Him and Sean Capri. Madden
Weirdos.
or Man of Medan?
Man of Medan.
Madden.
Sorry, coach.
Madden all day.
I love
Naughty Dog or Sucker Punch?
Okay, hold on. Since we have the tag. Hey, fuck you. I'm not answering this question because that's a hard one.
Question.
Wow.
That hard.
Wow.
That's a very offensive thing.
You don't get to think it's quick fire. You got to answer.
The answer is both. The answer is both.
I gotta bring this to attention. Why every time the pastor sends in something, hell, he always has to do something flagrant. It never fails. Naughty Dog is my answer. I don't know what's up with Haley and pastors.
I'm going with Sucker Punch.
I'm not answering. The answer is both. I can't choose. How dare you?
Yeah, Sucker Punch for me for sure.
Naughty Dog.
Single
If I
player or
had to-
multiplayer?
Single player.
Yeah, single player. And
I
co-op
will say,
or
though-
competitive?
Single
Sorry,
player.
hold on. Did you say co-op or competitive?
Yeah,
Yes, and I said single player.
co-op.
Co-op. I will say though, on the topic of Sucker Punch or Naughty Dog, if you were asking me to choose series, sure, I could do it that way, but I can't choose between two of my favorite developers.
You gotta choose, man. One of them must die.
No,
Gun to your head.
Gun to your head. Gotta
I
pick
die.
one.
in that situation, I die. I
And then
just
they-
say,
and-
pull the
and then they
trigger,
both die.
Piglet.
And then all three of you gotta go.
Please tell me you've seen that meme.
No, I
The
haven't.
image of
I'm
the
old.
dude holding the double barrel shotgun to Piglet's head. And he says, "Pull the trigger."
I have
No,
not.
I haven't seen that. I don't know.
have
I don't know what. I don't know what Twitter you be on, but I haven't seen it on my Twitter.
That's called Reddit, and also memes.
Oh, I don't be on Reddit.
Yeah.
R/memes is pretty nice.
Yeah, that's not a place that I frequent. Too old for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't answer that part of the question. I really can't. You can't make me choose between two of my favorite developers.
Yeah. I gotta go with Sucker Punch at this point.
Naughty Dog.
Also, I don't think that Mr. Passerham will be too upset. He's well versed in how I speak.
This is also true.
And that'll do it for our questions this week. All right, so moving along, we've got a couple of stories that we're gonna talk about before we get into our spoiler cast. Haley, your first story. You wanna bring that up?
Yeah, just E3 doesn't stop this year. Apparently, it just keeps going. Right after the end of their Ubisoft Forward event, Ubisoft announced another Ubisoft Forward event.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was not expecting that.
How about just announce all the stuff at once? Like, I get Sony and Microsoft holding back. They have consoles coming out later this year. What you announce this and then you go, oh yeah, I'll have more game news and updates. Why not just do it all at once?
I think it's kind of like the Nintendo Direct type of route where like they have multiple directs a year. That's basically what this turned into. It was like a direct. Same with like Devolver Digital. Like they had their thing, but they could do more. And like PlayStation with its things, like it has multiple things a year. So I think it's like we don't have to throw all of our eggs in this one E3 basket now. Like these are all pre-recorded. We can decide we want to spotlight these things and then spotlight some other things later on down the road. Like I just think it's just a kind of a changing of the way we can put out information, disseminate information. Like we don't have to throw it all in one basket now. I think they've realized that. I think a lot of companies have realized that. Like look at Microsoft. They have several events. So
Not gonna lie, not a fan of it. I do not like it at all. It's like it feels some of these events feel random. Like, oh yeah, we're doing something this week. Might want to check it out. And it's like
right
it's
in the
disjointed.
middle of this press conference, Jeff Keighley announced that tomorrow he's having a sit down with Hideo Kojima. Like, all right, like
It's super. It feels super random and disjointed. I'm not a fan of this. Like, if this is what y'all gonna do, I'd rather have E3 back. Just give me it in 3 days. Give me a whole week of celebrating video games to be done with it. This whole thing they're doing right now, I am not a fan of at all. This sucks. I'm not gonna lie. Even with some of the cool announcements that's happening, I feel like the message is kind of just scrambled in and it's everywhere, and it's just like, ugh. Like even now, even the whole Ubisoft thing that just happened, I'm like, ugh, do I really want to watch this Sunday? Like,
my biggest takeaway, and keep in mind, folks, I haven't seen the Ubisoft Forward yet because I got off work right after it ended. So the biggest takeaway I've seen is that you can recruit cats in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I'm sold, even though I was already sold.
they keep that.
yeah. I don't need no companion cat. I don't need no companion dog. None of that nonsense.
Hey, you can have a spy team consisting of all old ladies in Watch Dogs Legion.
Golden Girls. I'm down with that.
I mean, hey, Golden Girls Legion, let's go. That'll work.
Hey, shout out to some of the characters having a perk that says "may die randomly."
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm fine with this as far as the way they've been doling out news. I'm good with it.
I mean, the constant stream is great, but then you've got DC jumping into the mix now with like the Fandom event, right? Like
The who?
in
Exactly.
August 22nd, DC Fandom, and it's got like gaming news, updates on the CW shows, updates on like HBO Max stuff, updates on like the Snyder Cut and stuff like that. So
I'm guessing that's because there really isn't going to be a Comic-Con this year.
there is. It's called Comic-Con at Home, but Marvel is skipping
That's my
it, and
point.
so is DC.
That's my point. There isn't a Comic-Con the same way there wasn't at E3, so everybody can just do their own thing.
Yeah, well, the big rumor is this will be when the Batman game is revealed. So
Works for me.
I'm done with this. Like every other week. Oh, by the way, we're doing this week. Shut up. Like, tell me all at one time. Or don't tell me at all. This is so annoying.
I don't like
God.
change. I don't like change. I just give you the regular stuff.
Hey,
It's
has Delvin considered the possibility he may have autism, because that is one major sign?
I may have it. It's possible. It's just like, oh my God.
Also, in case many folks weren't aware, not making fun of autism, I have autism, so
But man, it just seems so unorganized, and it just drives me insane. Like, just this random day. Oh, by the way, this is coming out. Oh, this is coming out. Like, I think it was Friday.
Mhm.
Was it Friday? It was Thursday or Friday. Like, they announced No Hope's coming out for PS4 on October 30th.
yeah, that was
The
so
what?
random and just disjointed. That's some
From the Dark Pictures anthology, the people who made
Yeah.
Until Dawn. Their
I mean-
game is coming out the day before Halloween, which is cool, and I love that series. But it's just a random announcement. Okay,
Hey,
I
by
mean,
the way,
aren't they all random announcements if they're not at E3? Like, we get games being announced not at E3 regularly. So how is that any different?
but this sporadic, like, hey, it just keeps coming. Just
Yeah.
feels disjointed and out of place. Usually we don't get more game announcements after like June. Then it's like, hey, this is what's coming for the year. Aside from small indie games or a remaster, that's it. We may not get more announcements, but they just keep coming.
Yeah, I guess I just don't have a problem with it. Like, it's just.
I mean,
information.
More games is cool. This.
I don't. I guess
disjointed
I guess
way of
I don't
announcing.
need the organization of an E3 to disseminate information for me. Like, if it's information that's out there,
Great.
just,
It's helpful.
I'm good.
well,
I'll find.
that's
I'll
because
find it.
you wanted to see E3 die. That's why. You wanted them to put a bullet in the back of E3's head.
I mean,
Yeah.
E3 put a bullet in the back of its own head by doxing journalists. So
No, that's true.
I mean,
How did E3 put a bullet in the back of their own head? How do you do that?
it's called
By
you hold
not
the gun to
being
the back
able
of your
to-
head and just pull the trigger.
yeah.
Well,
They
that's
caused
what
their
they
own
do
death
too.
by not holding on to information and letting it just leak.
Trying to
Also,
figure
by
out
letting
this gun in the
Walmart
back of
Canada get the scoops. I'm
So
looking
it's-
at you, Walmart Canada. Thanks for
So it's your store that's leaking everything, essentially.
no,
Mm-hmm.
no,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
no.
You and Sean Capri just leaking all the things.
Okay, cool. Sean
Damn
Capri, you
Canadian.
want to hook me up? Because I don't got any of this news.
These Canadians, boy, oh boy.
Okay. So
Hey, so we gonna get you out of Florida, sir, or what's gonna happen here? Because cases keep skyrocketing. They opened Disney World that they shouldn't have freaking done.
that is a conversation for another time. This is
Yeah, don't get
not
me started on that.
the
get me started
COVID
on that.
podcast. This is the PlayStation experience. We're not going into that. Speaking of PlayStation experience, PS5 box art has been revealed.
I don't like it.
I think it varies on the game. Like, if you look at the Godfall cover, it actually looks pretty cool, pretty clean. I think the Miles Morales with the black and the white just kind of looks off.
That's all. Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
one I've seen, and it looks awful. It would look better if the case was black.
Yeah, it definitely would. But the Godfall one is not just like a solid black background, so it actually looks pretty clean. So I think it's going to just end up being a case-by-case basis on what the actual like box art cover is, whether or not it's gonna flow with that white motif or not.
Although, for reference, who still buys boxes? Just buy everything digitally.
There's a lot of people who still are on that physical train, so they can go ahead and trade stuff in. Like I know Justin has said he's going all physical still. He likes having his physical copy. He likes that ownership piece you kind of have when you grab a disc or whatnot. There's a lot of people that
I
still
mean,
want that physical stuff. Me personally, I don't
sure.
care. I ain't seen a game case in forever.
Just remember, the only game case I've seen recently is The Last of Us Part 2, because LE Edition came with a disc-based copy of the game. But, um, even still, you guys realize that buying the physical edition of the game doesn't mean you own the game. You're still just buying a license to play it, right?
Yeah, but people still like that, and also the ability to be able to trade it in. Like people
Fair.
like that option. It's just being able to have the more options. Personally, I wish they would include steelbooks with digital codes, so I don't need the disc, but I still get the art. Because I like the art of boxes. I like the art of the steelbooks, but
Yeah.
I don't want to have to deal with a bunch of discs. Which is
Yeah,
why
the Ghost of Tsushima steelbook case looks pretty cool, but I'm not buying a disc-based copy of the game. So
yeah, not at all. I'm good. Miss me with the
I mean,
disc,
in
but I'll
fact,
take the box art.
Ghost of Tsushima is already installed on my console. So
Yep, mine too. What about you, Delvin? Do
oh,
you care about these box arts at all? Does it?
They look cool. Well, one of them looks cool. The other one doesn't. The Spider-Man one looks weird.
It does. It absolutely does.
I want to see more games like this and how long this box art look. Because as console generation goes on, the box art kind of changes and they kind of add or take away things from it. And I don't even go as far as saying is this the final box art that we know of? Maybe people hear the feedback like, nah, maybe we need to change it. I don't know if that's a hard thing to change.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's not. Just change the color of the case from blue to black.
Yeah, it doesn't need. It could be changed. I feel like the PlayStation 3 had two different box arts. Like they changed like midway through to kind of more of what we have now. Like it used to be PS3 on the side, with like the Spider-Man type writing from that.
Yeah,
and then it changed to what we have now, like the more modern look.
By the way, that was such a dumb way to font your system. Like,
I liked
just
it.
the Spider-Man font on your console.
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
You could grill food on that console. It was so hot. In fact, I often saw mock-ups of turning it into a grill.
That actually would be kind of cool.
Yeah,
that would be dope. But yeah, we've got box art. That's cool. I like all the PS5 stuff. Give me all the PS5 news. Just let it all trickle in. Let it all come to fruition. All right, so our final story of the week. Delvin, what you got?
was basically what we talked about earlier. Sony patents suggest PS1, PS2, and PS3 games can be backwards compatible via the cloud, which I think is interesting. We already got a little bit into this, but it was first posted on Twitter by user Rinka_schedule. The tweet can be translated into English because it was a Japanese tweet. It reads, a large number of game titles across PS1/PS2/PS3 and various generations of game consoles can be stored and used via gaming cloud library. I think this is an interesting thing, and I'm really interested to see what they do with this. Like we were talking about it earlier, how maybe it's gonna be most likely gonna be part of PS Now. What I was wondering was if they're gonna start putting that bigger emphasis on PS Now, what's gonna happen with PS Plus? Maybe it's time to start putting these two together and maybe like a Game Pass Ultimate type of thing deal.
Yeah.
Increase the price on, because it's more and more. It feels like PS Plus is kind of useless.
No,
it's not. You're not getting necessarily the same value you used to get when it was first out. You're just kind of getting the online games. You're kind of getting games that are so much. You get games that are really good. So much you get games that are. I don't see why you can't just.
I mean, I feel like
the PS Now.
That's been PS Plus since the beginning. Like you're really paying for access to online, and the games are just a bonus.
I mean, back on the PS3, you were getting like great games all the time because the PS3 had a library so huge that they could afford to do that. But you're in the PS4. Like, they're not going to give you the Witcher 3 level games every month. Like, that's not going to happen.
And now when we're going to PS5, you're going to get even less. Especially for the first couple of months.
Yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what they do with PS Plus on PS5, what that first game title will be.
Also, Sideways for life.
What?
Huh?
Do you not remember the conversation we had on Twitter last night where you were roasting me for not wanting the towers in my room?
I remember the conversation from 5 minutes ago.
Yes. Yeah, that's shenanigans.
Also, by the way, I posted that grill photo in the Discord for you.
Nice.
What is that on the grill?
It's pork chops.
That's what that is? That doesn't look delectable at all.
I mean, it's probably not even started cooking yet, but I told you it was a thing. There you go. I got you the image. For those who can't see it, they turned their PS3, and it's one of those original, like, fat PS3s into a grill.
Nice.
Those don't look like pork chops. I will say that.
Grill S3. But yeah, I'm curious as to what PS Plus will evolve into if they do turn it into something akin to like Game Pass Ultimate, where you get live and you also get, you know, their games with gold or whatnot, or live. So I think it'll be a smart move if they do offer something like that. If they truly do rebrand PS Now and actually add some more functionality to it, it would be a smart way to go. And I'm just really curious as to what that first entry will be for PS5 with PS Plus, as well as what will they offer us for the PS4 for that as well. So it's interesting. It's a very interesting thing. If that patent comes to fruition, it'll be really, it's just time will tell what they end up doing with this service. They spent a lot of money on Gaikai, and PS Now has never really taken off. But with cloud gaming becoming more and more prevalent, PS Now has the chance to possibly turn into something big if they do it properly.
Much to Stadia's chagrin, because Stadia is probably going to die in the next few months. So,
we'll see. We'll see. People who play on Stadia really like it. So
I give it till maybe June next year, and then Stadia's in the ground 6 feet under with a Google fondly remembers.
We shall see.
I mean, this is like a Google Glass situation, right off the bat.
Very possible. Very possible.
I still maintain I would have bought one of those.
Google Glass?
I probably would have.
Yeah, I would have bought a pair of Google Glass, but it was dead before I ever had a job. So
yeah. All right, well, we're about to get into our spoiler cast. So, people, if you haven't finished the game, if you don't want to hear what we're about to talk about, you got 5 seconds to go away and come back later.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Y'all about to hear me swear like a trucker.
But you don't have to.
No, but I'm going to because I'm big mad. So
yeah, I'll let Haley go first.
Yeah, go ahead. Take us away. Where did we leave off?
So we left off at the end of, like, right at the start of day 3, right? Like, because you hadn't finished day 3 yet.
We got to where we were with Yara going to get Lev. I believe that's where we left off.
Yeah. So after that, essentially, you meet up with Lev after fighting your way through the island.
Fighting? No, I killed no one. I didn't want to kill the Seraphites.
We get it. You like Abby. Abby sucks.
No, I like Lev and Yara.
Okay.
And those were their
Let
people.
Me finish.
I didn't want to kill them.
Sure. I killed them all because they're horrible people. Point being, you fight your way through the island to find Lev. You find Lev. He's cowering in the corner after having killed his mom.
Yeah, it was so
because
sad.
his mom did not accept him for being who he is and tried to kill him, so it was in self-defense. Yeah. And then after that, you go to escape the island. You find out that Isaac is there. Isaac kills Yara.
Oh, that was so rough.
Like right in front of Abby, and Abby's like, dude, they're children. What are you doing? Like you're gonna kill kids? They've done nothing wrong. And he goes to shoot Lev, and Abby takes the gun from him and just freaking murders him. So Isaac's dead.
Wait,
and then
no, that's not what happened. She got in the way. She got in the way of him.
She disarms one of the men in that situation.
Yara shot Isaac.
Again, I don't care.
Because she was like, Abby dropped her gun. She protected Lev, and he's like, I'm not getting out of the way. And he was like, I'm gonna shoot you then. And he said no. She said no, you're not. Like, she was trying to like defuse the situation. And then what happened was Yara shot Isaac, and then they all unloaded into Yara. You grabbed Lev and you took off.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
Point being is then you fight your way off the island. You get back to the aquarium, discover what happened. It shows Lev picking up the map and handing it to Abby, because the one thing I will say is, Ellie, you're a fucking idiot. Don't leave the map.
Oh, didn't you skip a part?
No, you fight your way off the island, and then you get back to the aquarium.
Don't you get stopped before that?
Yes, you have a fight with that big dude who just took all the beatings.
Oh, yeah, that dude's annoying.
Yeah, that was a good
sorry.
fight.
But again, that's under the banner of you fight your way off the island.
So here's my question for you guys on that fight. Like, did you guys just wait and let them kill each other off, or were you actively killing people as you were
I was
going
actively killing people as I was going.
Oh, yeah.
That was one of my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah.
Because what I did was I watched the battle as it going on between the two armies, and whoever was winning, I would help the other side so it could let me go through the crowd without being noticed.
Yep, I did the exact same thing. I was just letting them pick each other off, and then like I'd see somebody in the distance, get them with the crossbow, and just sneak through. So they never called me out, never saw me or anything. They were too busy fighting each other.
No, I killed them all because, didn't care about stealth at all as Abby, because she's not really a stealthy character.
Well, see, for me, it wasn't necessarily about the stealth. It was about the fact that if you started, then they would all gang up on you. So it was easier to let them kill each other off instead of having to deal with fighting both sides of the army.
Point being, you beat you beat the dude who just takes his like 900 punches. Like, not human.
Dude's half his face was falling off. Like, that was just so crazy. Like, he was still that upset and that full of rage, and like he had half a face and was still fighting you, and then you end up losing your pack and all your weapons. Didn't
Lev shoot him in the back with an arrow, and he still kept going as he's missing half his face?
Yep. That dude was not trying.
He takes your pack and it gets stuck under a fire, like under a log. Like you have no weapons now, just the pistol. You and Lev get back to the aquarium, discover Owen and Mel's bodies and the map. You go to the theater, and this is where I get big mad.
So before we get there, hold on. I want to ask a question. And I know that you probably didn't care, Haley, because you hate Abby. But did getting back to the aquarium with Abby just feel different for you at all, Delphin?
No.
Well, we'll get to that later.
Okay.
No, go ahead. We're here. Have your thoughts. I'm not trying to take over the show. Delvin, you already know my thoughts. Dev doesn't.
No, that's why I said I know you probably don't care.
Because we're not to that part yet. But I'll just say this part. When we got to the aquarium, I still didn't care. I was like, well, shit happens.
For me, getting back to the aquarium just hit totally different. I was like, man, because for me, a lot of it is the fact that nobody talks. It's just instantly going to violence for just everybody. It's like, we're not even going to hear you out and talk.
So
it's just
stupid.
Yeah, that's the part that everything just feels like, man, everybody just completely lost their humanity. They are not trying to hear anybody's side of anything. It's just kill or be killed. And so getting back to the aquarium, it just was like, oh man, thinking about the fact that if Ellie would have just took a second to even listen, she would have realized that they were leaving. They were going to Santa Barbara. She was pregnant. And you could have just left them the hell alone and they would have been gone. They'd have been like, Abby's here. We don't know if she's coming back. It just hit different for me because it's like, man, if people would have just spent just the time to actually talk, things could have changed. Things could be so
Also, another thing. maybe don't try to wrestle guns away from people pointing them at you because they tend to go off.
Yeah.
Owen is as much at fault for himself dying as Ellie is.
Oh yeah, I'm not
literally,
saying he's not.
if he hadn't tried to wrestle that gun away, he would probably be alive, and so would Mel.
It's just
literally.
It's the world. It's the killer be killed. That's what it boils down to. It just hits different.
It's like that scene. I'm gonna quote Smallville here for reference. It's like that scene in the episode where the nuke gets fired while Clark still doesn't have his powers. Chloe and I don't even remember what the bad guy's name in that episode is. His name is, but they're literally wrestling over a gun in a nuclear silo, and they're fiddling with the gun, and it gets turned upside down. You don't see who gets shot until the dude crumbles to the ground. It's like, okay, maybe don't wrestle with guns.
Yep. But anyway, so now you're back to the what is it? The theater. And it's like,
yeah.
How do we get in? I was like, man, I know exactly how to get in because I saw this as a problem when I was there the first time. I was like, you're just gonna go climb that ladder and jump in the open window. Like, it was just so funny. It was like that. Yeah. That's a problem. That shouldn't be open.
Yeah. So you get in there. Then the cutscene plays the way it did before, but this time you're playing as Abby. You're chasing after Ellie. This is my big fucking problem. So I'm gonna addendum here. Delvin, Donnie, and I have had this conversation before. Dev, these are new thoughts to you because you weren't looking in the spoiler chat while it happened.
Nope.
So, my thoughts on this after having finished it were very raw and come from a place of personal trauma. So, just a heads up. How fucking dare you compare Ellie to David? How fucking dare you?
I don't even know what that means.
The fight with Abby and Ellie, where you're playing as Abby, is done in the exact same way the David fight is, which is adamant to comparing Ellie to David. How fucking dare you compare Ellie to her would-be rapist?
I didn't get that at all. For me, it was just a fight between the two. Like, I would have never have ever put that in the same space. Like, it just...
Those were my thoughts afterwards. And again, they were fresh. It hurt. And I admitted while talking in the Discord server that maybe it's too personal of a situation for me. But it feels tantamount, the way that fight mechanic plays out, the way the fight goes in the exact same way. You get spotted at once, insta-death. Feels tantamount to comparing Ellie to David. No. You do not...
Insta-death. I was spotted several times and I didn't get killed right away, so...
Yes. Once Ellie pulls the shotgun out, if you get spotted after that point, it's instant death.
She shot me with the shotgun and didn't kill me.
I have a question about this because Haley's had a completely different experience for that section than I did. Because you said when we were talking about it before, you said that Ellie had rigged certain areas with bombs.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she does trap the area with bombs.
I didn't get that at all. I didn't get that at all. I didn't see her rig bombs or anything. And I was looking for them, like, nothing. Maybe I beat Ellie too fast, or I don't know what happened. I didn't see bombs at all.
No, I only had her drop bombs on me once, but it was like right after I hit her with the bottle and I walked right into a bomb that I didn't even see her place.
Oh yeah,
but
I saw her.
That wasn't my problem with the fight. Like cool, you added upgrades to the fight. Ellie can use her weapons and stuff, right? But it feels as as someone who had that kind of incident that Ellie almost had happen to her back in that bar with David happen, that fight felt tantamount to comparing Ellie to her would-be rapist. Now, we had conversations in the Discord, and I admitted that maybe it's too personal of a thing, so I'll let the rest of you do it, but that was my big problem. That is literally one of my only problems with this game, aside from Abby, because while playing as Abby, I just didn't care and didn't feel motivation to come on. Now, this will shock both of you. While I was playing my playthrough as Abby, I found an optional collectible that doesn't count towards the collectibles that actually made me chuckle because Abby was teasing Manny about finding his sex den.
Yeah, I found that. That was funny.
That was funny. but I still don't care about Abby. It was funny to watch
That's
her
fine.
tease Manny, but I still don't care.
That's fine. Yeah, so the fight with Ellie, I just didn't like it because I didn't want to fight Ellie. Like it was just hard for me fighting fighting Ellie as Abby, and then vice versa, fighting Abby as Ellie. Like I hated both of those moments. Just like if you would just talk, like maybe y'all wouldn't be doing this. But the fight was cool. I like what they did with like you can actually listen and hear the bombs, and you gotta sneak around. If you have a bottle, you can chuck it at her and fight her that way. And like the fact that she would that at the end of it, Abby's like, "Look, if I ever see you again, I'm gonna kill you." But she walks away from the fight like, "Look, I never wanted to kill you in the first place."
To be fair, she only walks away after Lev calls her on the fact that she's about to kill Dina.
I appreciate that. I appreciate Lev because he's like, dude, you don't need to do that. Like, stop. We've had enough killing. Enough people have died. Like, let's. I made your point.
You'll say what?
I was going to bring this up when we get to the end, but this is an interesting concept. Is Ellie the bad guy of this story?
I mean, Joel was the bad guy in the first one, so
that's what I'm trying to drive at. Like, if Joel was essentially the bad guy of the first one, as people say, I don't necessarily agree with that, but he was.
I don't agree with that either, but that's what people say about the first one.
Because there are some interesting directions Ellie takes in this game that kind of paint her out to be the villain of the game in terms of how.
But the same decisions are made by Abby, so no, I don't think so.
I will say this though, there's a difference. And I will talk about that more when we get to the game but I can talk about it now. Screw it.
Yeah, let's just go.
At this point in the game, Abby makes a conscious decision to not only let Ellie go, but to live her life.
Yeah.
To let the past go. And this is the point where I kind of started feeling Abby and liking her a little bit better, because when you go to the point where you play as her for that last section.
Oh, you mean like the little bit when you're in Santa Barbara?
Yes. She is happy. She is content.
Yeah, she's joking around with Lev and having fun. Lev's asking her questions. She's answering them fully. She's not withdrawn or anything like that. That section is Abby. That's fine. I have no problem with that section as Abby. But the rest of the game playing as Abby, just awful. Like, she's not a good character.
I would disagree that she's not a good character. I would say that they're giving her an actual full arc. Like, she was built up with so much rage and anger towards Joel, who killed her dad. Once she settled that, and then she's going back, like, you're seeing, like, her realizing, like, I don't need to do a lot of this. Like, the fact that she went back to save Lev and Yara. Like, she's like, I don't need to. And she even tells, like, I had to let that go. Like, you're seeing just the fact that she doesn't want to be that person.
Yeah. I think it was very powerful that you got this moment with Abby and Lev where Abby, the whole game, she's been kind of hopeless. We're living day to day. Whatever happens. When you get to Santa Barbara with Abby, she has hope for the first time in the game. She is upbeat. She is cheery. She is likable. She's boosting Lev up like, hey, we're going to be okay. This is the first time we really see this character show personality. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool to see her like this. And to the point where you get to the climax of that, and she's at the peak of hope, and the game takes it away from her in the worst way.
Human slavers capture Abby and Lev. And meanwhile, while this is happening, actually before it's happened, because it's like tantamount that like the same amount of time passes, essentially. Before this, we've like completely skipped a section. You're back at the farm in Jackson as Ellie. She's got shorter hair. She's living with Dina in an abandoned farmhouse. They've named Dina's named her son JJ, and Neil Druckmann confirmed that the second J in his name stands for Joel. So he's named Jesse Joel, which is an interesting combination of names.
I thought it was just Jesse Jr.
Nope, it's Jesse Joel. But also, I like that Ellie has nicknamed him Potato. So Ellie just calls him Potato, and in fact, when you go outside to grab his little like bedtime toy or whatnot, she's sitting there singing "Potato, Potato" on the
And
tractor to him.
That was an interesting moment. You get to see her trying to be happy, and as soon as Tommy shows up, she's just like.
Actually, we skipped over something I really want to touch on. They touched on Ellie's PTSD after having pretty much ignored it for the rest of the game. Now it's noticeable in a few scenes only, her PTSD. I don't know if you paid attention, but did you guys notice that Ellie's hands only shake when going to open doors?
Yes.
Nope.
Her PTSD is heavily reliant on the fact that she opened that door to watch Joel get his head beaten.
I was going to talk about that.
But no, so essentially, like, Dina asks her to like herd the goats into the farmhouse. One of the goats had escaped its confinement, knocks over a shovel, and you just watch Ellie crumble, like just boom, and she's just screaming.
Yep.
And
Ellie has been broken since she found out what Joel did. She has been broken since that point. And then watching Joel, she was broken by that when she found out that what he did. And the severing of their relationship at that point, that shit broke her. Like, broke her. And then watching Joel broke her completely.
I wouldn't say that at all. Based on that last cutscene with Joel, I would not say that at all.
I would go and say that, because we talked about our last episode a little bit in terms of how we didn't get into it, but we get into it right now. Ellie essentially says she wanted to die.
Yeah.
Not because to save everybody, but
to give her life meaning.
Yes.
And Joel took that from her.
And I think while that hurt her, I think she was getting over that.
That's literally the point of that cutscene, is to say, hey, I don't think I can forgive you, but I want to try. And that happens literally less than 24 hours before he's murdered.
Yeah,
that is why Ellie went on this revenge journey, I might add, by the way, because she wanted to try and repair her relationship with Joel, and then it was taken from her. But before we even get there, Tommy shows up, disfigured as hell, I might add. Can't walk. His eye is sewn shut. Maria has left his ass because he's too focused on finding Abby. Literally, Maria's like, yeah, I don't want to see you anymore. Like, he mentions that, like, they're taking some time apart, and then Druckmann came out later and was like, no, like, they're done. They're not a thing anymore. Literally gets mad at Ellie for having a happy life, or as happy as can be with PTSD and all that. Literally goes, oh, I see. Must be easy for you living out here. Like, dude, you're an asshole. Like, she's literally just trying to live her life. Like, she's got problems too, bud. You don't need to.
And this is where it gets fascinating to me. I think the story changes for Ellie at this point.
But also, let me finish. Because Tommy goes, you need to do this. And then later, Ellie can't let it go. But here's the thing. That shouldn't have happened at all. Based on one of Ellie's most iconic lines from the first game. Ellie, I'm scared of ending up alone, Williams, would not leave her wife and child to go hunt someone down halfway across the country. Absolutely not.
It's a different Ellie.
How dare you? No, not a different Ellie. It is a fundamental part of her character.
Let me get to this part.
I would disagree with that.
I think that at this point in the game, where Tommy comes back, Ellie is not into the revenge. She doesn't go back to find Abby because she wants revenge. She goes back because she thinks killing Abby will cure her PTSD. She's trying to cope with it, and she's realizing slowly but surely that she can't cope with what happened. And no matter how much she loves this person and this happy life and this family, this is holding her back from true happiness because she's mentally scarred. Yep. And it's not even like at this point in time, it's not even about revenge. It's if killing Abby can help me cope with this and move past this PTSD, that's what I have to do. That's why when he first asked her, she was like, no, I'm not doing that, because she felt she was past revenge.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't. She accepted what happened. She accepted that fate. But once she had that last kind of PTSD panic attack, she's like, I can't live like this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It was hurting her too much because that PTSD was overcoming her and it was overtaking her. And I think it even add to the point that she had this panic attack with the child.
Yep.
I think that kind of meant that much more. They're like, hey, I got to do something about this. And maybe me going back and solving this, closing this chapter of my life will solve that. And it's very powerful that when you get to that point in the game, that last fight, Abby's already content.
Mm-hmm.
Abby was full of hope. She's like, I don't want to do this no more with you. I'm done. Ellie's like, no, I have to do this or I'm going to kill this person that you care about.
Yeah, Ellie tried to walk away like at first, and then she saw her vision and she's like, I have to try to fix this. And she like you said, Devin, I feel like the only way she thought that she was ever going to be able to get past it was killing killing Abby until she realized that wasn't going to fix it at all.
It's a fundamentally broken part of the story. I'm sorry. Regardless of mental scarring or not, like, hello, hi, I have mental scarring. I'm not going to go do something that's completely against my character.
See, and the thing is, people change. Like, that was Ellie back then.
But your fundamental fears don't change.
She might still be afraid of being alone, but the fact is she knows she can always go back to Jackson. But she cannot get past her PTSD, and she has to try to see this through. She has to try to do what she can to fix that for herself.
No,
because she's not able to be. She feels like she probably can't even be a help to Dean at this point because she's so scarred. She's not sleeping. She's not eating. She goes through all this. Like, I cannot function.
Point being, we'll move on to the rest of the story here because we've kind of skipped over a massive part. Ellie gets bit again.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. Like, I'm not even sure she gets bit by the infected. Pretty sure she gets bit by the dude before he's infected, but all right. It's not really clear. What'd you think of getting that weapon, though, Dev?
Oh, man, I wanted that for a while, but I had gotten to the point, like, once I got that weapon, I was just so tired of killing people that for the rest of that part of the game, I pretty much just tried to be stealth and just get past everybody because I was just tired of killing people. It's like, I'm so over this.
Oh, you missed out on the fun. When you get to that mansion.
No. I set those guys free and let them run rampant because it created distraction for me to get away. So I definitely set the walkers free. I set the clickers free. That was fun.
Heads up, by the way, if you do decide to go for the platinum and do like New Game Plus or whatnot, you get to keep that. You have it all through at Seattle.
Oh yeah, no, I'm deleting the game. I'm not playing this ever again.
That weapon is very useful in Seattle. But so essentially, like, Ellie finds these rattlers after getting stabbed by a tree. I might add, like,
oh, that was rough.
Like, she sets off a trap, gets stabbed by a tree. Dude takes her. She manages to like send one of the rattlers, like, run him towards I think it's a clicker that's hanging from the tree. I'm not entirely certain.
Yeah, it was a clicker. It's a clicker.
It's one of the two. Runs him to it. He gets bit, and then she turns around to the dude and he's like, "I'll tell you where he is. You can probably get to her before that infection sets in." And then it pans down to the palm of her hand, and she's been bit again. But it doesn't look like the bite mark from the first game, like, at all. It just looks like human teeth marks.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure if she got bit by the clicker or if she got bit by the dude. Yeah. Regardless, she's not going to turn because immune, and it's, later proven after she comes back after the fight with Abby and all that. She's missing 2 fingers, which that was brutal, by the way. Ew.
Yeah.
Yikes.
That was rough.
Essentially, she like walks into their compound. They're like chaining clickers and runners and stalkers to pools and like using them as like motivation for people to do work.
Yep.
It's
Human
essentially Negan's
slaves.
compound for The Walking Dead. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, thanks for the spoiler. I'm not caught up on The Walking Dead. Um,
That's not a spoiler.
I
That's
was
like
being an
that was like 4
asshole.
years ago.
I know it was. I was also being sarcastic. But no. So essentially, after you get through it, you get down to the prison, and you let the prisoners go, and they immediately go to shoot Ellie. And she's like, "Hey, don't point those fucking guns at me! I just set you free." And then they tell her where Abby is. She's hung up on like posts, and she's got short hair now. She looks skinny as hell, like malnutrition.
Man.
That part, that's the part what I felt for her.
Yeah, I was like,
That
oh
moment
my
right there.
God. I could not believe that. And like as soon as she gets cut down, the first thing she does is like, Lev, I gotta cut him down. And she's like, the boats are this way. Like I'm not even trying to fight you. I'm not even trying to deal with this. Let's just get the hell out of here.
Point being, is then obviously we've already talked about the fight. The fight happens. Abby and Lev leave after Ellie tells them to go. Then you get that last cutscene of that we've already talked about of Ellie and Joel like talking about repairing their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get no, actually, you don't get that
You go
cutscene
back.
there.
You
go back to
the
Jackson
farm.
and get it in Jackson, but you do get a cutscene of Joel there. Like like Ellie is finally able to see Joel's face again in that scene. And then you're in Jackson. You walk up to the house. It's empty. Dina's clearly moved back to Jackson. As there was a letter in the house before you left that was like, "Hey, you guys are always welcome in Jackson."
Mm-hmm.
Yada yada yada. Now, key thing to mention here. This is Josh has posted this a couple times in the Discord, and I've seen the YouTube comment myself. There's a key theory here that based on the entire time you're in Santa Barbara, Ellie is not wearing Dina's bracelet at all. There's and in her journal she says she misses Dina and Potato. She doesn't even call him JJ. She just calls him Potato in her journal. But when she gets back to Jackson, like the house, like she's obviously missing 2 fingers, but she's got Dina's bracelet on again. So it's entirely possible that she's already gone to Jackson, talked to Dina, smoothed it over, gotten back together. We don't know. That's a possibility. It's a good theory, and I'm going to choose to believe it since, what else is there to do?
When she left, did we see there was no indication that she gave the bracelet like I'll be back for this or anything like that?
Actually, the bracelet was on Ellie's nightstand table
when she
you
left?
wake up.
Okay, so she didn't take it with her. Okay,
that's seen when you
wake up before you leave. Okay,
when you wake up, okay. Ellie's not wearing her bracelet. But then Ellie goes to pick up Joel's guitar because it's the only room in the house that still has
all of her stuff.
All
because
her
Dina
stuff
was
in
like,
it.
"Screw you! I'm leaving all your crap here."
Or more common thought, she didn't want to take it out of the house unless maybe again the theory is that Ellie went back to the farmhouse to grab the guitar and then decided to leave it behind instead, because she can't really play it now with 3 fingers. Point being is that Ellie tries to play one last song on the guitar. Has that final scene where they discuss like, hey, like let's try and repair our relationship, and then she decides to put the guitar down and leave. The camera pans up to the moth on the guitar, and in the background you can see Ellie walking towards the gate of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But another key thing to mention is that when Ellie walks into the farm, she doesn't have her weapons like at all. And in the scene where you were hunting, Ellie had a weapon and all of that. So again, kind of leads credence to like, hey, Ellie's already gone back to Jackson and just came to collect the guitar. But that's where the game ends. Is it? It does, like again, like the first game, nebulous. It does not give you a definitive end.
Yep, because she could have left that pack on that beach when she got back in the boat. Who knows?
But the main menu screen after you beat it shows Catalina Island as confirmed by Neil Druckmann. So Abby and Lev did in fact make it to the Fireflies.
Yeah, so for me, at the end of it, it just felt like Ellie was just left with nothing. Like she couldn't play guitar, she had no Joel, she had no Dina, she had no Potato. She was just bereft of everything. I was like, damn, that sucks.
I choose to believe that Ellie went back to Jackson and got back with Dina and Potato.
That's fine. I imagine that's the only place she could go is back to Jackson. That was my thought. Like, oh, Dina and Potato went back to Jackson. Eventually, Ellie will get back to Jackson because she doesn't want to be alone. And where else is she really gonna go? But it definitely feels like she had everything taken from her. And it just for me, it's like, man, Joel is still the bad guy in this freaking game.
Joel was never the bad guy. If I 100% had his decision in that thing, I still would have made it.
The reason why I say that is because if he doesn't kill the doctor, like, none of this happens. So it's all kind of that. And then if you want to go even further, it's because the world took the one thing he had from him, so he just takes everything from the world. Like, that's just thoughts that happen when I'm looking at the end of this. Like, man, this sucks. You know, he took away Ellie's hope. He took away Abby's dad. Like, just ugh.
I don't look at it like that. I look at it like Joe made a choice, and I don't think I would say you can argue it's a neutral choice. I don't know if it's a good or a bad. It was a choice to save. He made the decision to save one life over possible hundreds of thousands, maybe millions.
Mm-hmm.
Now he guaranteed one life saved, but if he wouldn't have saved that one life, it could have been possible. Because we don't know if it could have worked or not. Obviously, it's a big possibility it could have worked. But it's possible that he could have saved millions. Okay, so that's a choice he chose to make.
Mm-hmm.
But after that choice was made, the ripple effect is his death, of course. But his death led to countless of people dying who may have been innocent or not into it. Like the whole thing, this is the thing with this whole thing. This is why I asked, is Ellie the villain of the story? Because at any point in time, Ellie could have stopped, and countless of people wouldn't have been killed because of it, including a pregnant mother and kid, unborn child.
Yeah.
Hot take: Mel was a terrible person, so no loss there.
Regardless of, I don't like using the term "these are terrible people" in this world because the world is terrible and it causes so much more strife and so much more loss of humanity. So it's not even so much that they're all horrible people. It's these are the cards they're dealt with, and this is the way of life in this horrible, horrible world.
And I will go even further than that. The stories are parallel. The interesting parallel to the story is the fact that when you start this story off, Ellie's in a place of light, hope, happiness. She's mad at Joe, but that can be cured. On the other hand, Abby is still in the place of darkness, evil, malcontent. And throughout this game, we watch both of these stories kind of flip in terms of, as Abby's story goes on, Abby finds her humanity.
Yep.
As Ellie's story goes on, she delves further and further into the darkness, killing countless of people and doing acts that are questionable. Abby is on kind of that same path, but her story takes a turn when she meets Lev and Yara, and she actually cares about people. And they say not only do they save her life, but they give her humanity, as opposed to Ellie, who already had these things. Even without Joe being there, Ellie always had a family.
Yep.
She had people who cared about her, who wants her best interest. And as further as she got into that story, she slowly lost those people. Whether it was Jesse, who's kind of her brother figure, whether it was Joe, her father figure, whether it was her relationship with Joe's brother. And at the end of the story, the last people that she cared about, she ended up losing.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other side, everything that made Abby, she lost, but she gained a family.
Yeah.
She gained a lifelong partner.
Which is why
who cares?
It's two different sides. They're two sides of the same coin. Like Abby was on the same trajectory that Ellie was while she was hunting Abby. That was Abby hunting Joel. Once she resolved that, she started going back into like, okay, let me try to find my happiness again. And even that was hard because of her relationship with Owen and Mel. And then she finds that happiness with Yara and Lev the same way that Ellie had found that with Dina and with Dina basically. And you see like once Joel is killed by Abby, they basically flip. Ellie becomes Abby. Like she's going after that revenge. That's what's her driving motivation. That's her goal, her desire for living. And then once that's resolved, then like you said, Abby's able to find that happiness, and now Ellie has to go and try to refine that happiness in this just shitty world that we're living in. It's interesting. It's just such a crazy story, and I love the fact that they made everything intersect to where you're actually seeing both sides. Like I wonder how different people would have felt if after the final scene, like you just see you're just Ellie the whole time until that final scene where you finally catch up to her and you see Abby just stripped down, and then after that you go and play Abby's side of the story. Like I don't think it would have been as powerful, to be perfectly honest. I think by getting you to a climax and then stripping you of it and putting you in somebody else's shoes, I think that is a little bit more powerful, because now you're sitting here like, oh my God, I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be here. I want to go back to Ellie. But you're forced to see the other side of it first before you get the actual final climax. I think that's a more powerful method, because it could be like you finish that scene and then you're put in Abby's shoes, and some people will be like, I'm good. I don't need to play that, I
think it would have been more powerful if you didn't know until you got to that moment of time. Because it was a very powerful scene to me when you walk up on Abby, and she's emaciated.
I was like, is that Abby? Is that? I was like, oh, I couldn't believe it.
She's emaciated. She's defeated. This is not the same person you've been hunting this whole game.
Mm-hmm.
This is a completely different person who is essentially, and the thing about it is, even at that moment in time, after you let her down, her spirit is still not broken. She is like, hey, let me get Lev down. We're going to go find our happiness.
Mm-hmm.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
That is, for all the problems I had with Abby, that moment is good storytelling in terms of like, hey, you built, for 90% of this game, I looked at this character as an asshole. And then you get to this
asshole.
I don't think she is at this point.
She's still an asshole.
I can't even. It's so hard for me to be like, how can anybody look at that, at the way the story ends, and be like, she's a horrible person? Like, it's so hard for me to even. I cannot co-sign that at all. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Horrible person. End of story.
I will say this: once she allowed Ellie to go get away the second time, that was a sign. Like, okay, that was it, because by all rights, she had Ellie dead to rights. There was nothing else stopping her from killing Ellie and killing this woman that she doesn't know with an unborn child.
Mm-hmm.
But she chose to walk away from revenge. Ellie did not choose to walk away from revenge until it was too late, till she literally lost everything at the end of the game. That's why I think that ending scene when you come into this house is so powerful, because her quest for quote-unquote revenge, even though I don't think it was revenge in the end, cost her everything.
Like,
did it though?
See,
it seems that way. It definitely looks.
I would say this. I would feel like if it didn't, it would make this ending hollow.
Yeah, I agree.
Ending's already hollow because it completely disregards Ellie as a character. Oops, I said it.
I completely disagree with you, but that's fine. I don't think it disregards her as a character at all.
I think it evolves her character and who she is.
It does not. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
I think it adds shades of gray to her. I think it makes her more fascinating. I will say this about this game. I feel like more than the first one, this game needs a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
We need some more finality to this story in terms of what happens.
You'll probably get it.
Well, both. I think when they made this game, they were making two things I noticed about this game. One, this game feels like it was meant to have a third part of it.
I mean, you don't title something Part 2 to not finish it if you're going to leave the ending open.
Yeah. And the second thing I noticed is all these factions they made in this game feels like this is going to be the multiplayer.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. So I have 3 questions for you guys. First question is like, just overall thoughts. Did you like the story and did it live up to your hype for the game? Or did you like the game? Not necessarily the story. Did you like the game and did it live up to your hype?
I liked the first half of the game where you played as Ellie. Everything after that, hot trash.
So by hot trash, you just mean you didn't like it. Okay.
Yeah. Again, you asked for my opinion, and I gave you my opinion. Yes, I liked the first part where you played as Ellie, like story, everything after that point. As soon as the game switches to Abby, garbage.
So did it live up to your hype for the game or no?
I mean, no.
Okay. What about you, Delvin?
I like the story. I don't know. I guess, you know what? I would say it didn't live up to my hype because I was one of the first people in PSVG who saw the spoilers, unfortunately. And I'm glad that a lot of that stuff was wrong. So because of that, the spoilers actually brought my hype up after I played the game.
Okay.
So yes, it did.
Yeah. For me, I absolutely loved it. It definitely lived up to my hype. I didn't have a whole lot of expectations. Like I was almost like kind of down on it going into it. But I just really enjoyed the way it tackled the story and had like just an overarching plot lines all kind of crisscrossing. Like I enjoyed that. What was your biggest surprise of the game?
Jesse dying.
What about you?
Not playing as Joel. Not playing as Joel.
But you do play as Joel.
Not really.
You do play as Joel, though. You can't say not really. You play as Joel for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yeah, he was expecting
you
more.
only played as Sarah for 10 minutes in the first one. What's the difference?
Well, Joel's not Sarah. That's the difference. I wanted to play as... I thought we were going to have a longer experience with Joel.
Well, hot take. Joel died, and I kind of expected it. So where were you going to play as Joel?
Even flashback scenes.
Yeah.
Garbage. No. Ellie is the heart and soul of those flashback scenes.
My biggest surprise was that Dina didn't die. I thought Dina was going to get it.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
I knew Jesse was going to die. I didn't expect him to get shot in the head like that, but I think my biggest surprise was actually that Dina didn't die.
Hey, you know what my biggest surprise was? Joel not realizing Ellie was gay. Until that scene.
When he tells her, he's like, is that your girlfriend?
No, until that scene where he tells Seth to shut the hell up for calling Ellie and Dina dykes. Because in the flashback, when they're hunting the bloater in the
he's
the hotel, he's like
Jesse,
he's trying to like Jesse, and she's like, and Ellie's like, he's like, I got a keen eye for these things. And Ellie's like, not so much. And then later in the in the library on like day 3 as Ellie goes, yeah, you're not my type, and Jesse goes,
like, what Asian? Yeah,
that's totally what I meant.
Yeah. So, do you think there will or should be a part 3? And then the question, even bigger question, is should there have even been a part 2?
Yes,
Should there have been a part 2? Yes. Am I happy the way the story played out? No, but you know that not everyone's going to be happy with everything. Should there be a part 3? I mean, I'm going to go with yes. Is there going to be a part 3? I'm also going to go with yes. Is it going to be Naughty Dog's next game? I'm going to go with no. Because that's probably the way things work out at Genta.
Yes,
I will say this. I want 3 with Ellie and no Abby. Like, I want, in terms of Ellie and Abby, I want that story over. That what last moment was their story. That's the end of their story. I would like to also see a spinoff with Abby alone.
Okay, so you want part 3 and part 4, but you want part 3 to be Ellie and you want part 4 to be Abby.
No, I don't want part 4. I want Abby's to be her own thing. I want Ellie's to be part 3 and Abby to be Lost Legacy.
You're
You know
not
what I'm
going to
saying?
get that.
That's
If
not what I want to get. This is what I.
I
This
don't
is
know,
my
like
pie in the sky.
it's a good pie in the sky. I'm not downvoting it. What I'm going to say is, if you get more Ellie and Abby, it'll be in the same game. There's no way they don't do it the way they did.
I feel like that moment after boat
The,
was the
the
end
more
of their chapter.
interesting thing is everyone's always said, right? Like, even, and again, I brought this up when we first started talking about part 1 of our spoiler cast, right? Ellie's the only one we know of that's immune. What are the chances? And this is like pie in the sky theory. Ellie's never given anyone a blood transfusion, but not the most typical way to go about it. Abby partook in Ellie's blood. That is a bad way to phrase that, by biting off 2 of her fingers. What are the chances Abby's now immune to?
Possible.
I mean, yeah, maybe.
It'd be
I
an
would say-
interesting thing to explore, because again, what are the chances that if there's a part 3, Ellie and Abby meet up again and have to work together?
I don't want to see them meet up again ever. My opinion, at least.
If there's a part 3 with both of them, you know it's going to happen. Also, sorry, my camera doesn't want
That's
it.
fine. I honestly don't think that there's need to even be a part 2. I think Last of Us wrapped up so nicely, and I like the I can't even say the word.
Ambiguity.
Yeah, that of how it ended. And I don't think Neil Druckmann even really had an idea for a part 2 for a long time. I think he was going back and forth whether or not he was even going to do a part 2.
Sure, but based on his comments after the game's release, it's pretty clear he already has an idea for part 3, based on the fact that he goes, I'm not sure if our next project is going to be The Last of Us Part 3 or something else.
Yeah.
Either way, like I definitely think after creating a part 2, you probably should create a part 3. I want to be Lev. Can I be Lev in part 3? That's what I want to see.
I'd be all right with that.
I want to see the
Again,
fireflies
even-
and Lev.
Even
and
if I
his
had
story.
to deal with Abby for like the game, that's fine. But again, Abby as the way she is in Santa Barbara, fine. I'm sure I could grow to enjoy her character. But I get that for maybe 10 minutes, not 10 hours.
I could play a whole game as Abby, but I do want to see. I want to play as Lev. He's good with a bow.
I mean, so is Abby. She's got a
She's
crossbow.
good with a crossbow, but Lev is surgical with that bow.
Okay, but so is Ellie. Ellie's surgical with the bow. By the way, did you guys beat that arrow minigame in like one shot, or
What arrow mini game in one shot? What do you mean?
Trying to think what you're talking about.
With Abby?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one
Yeah,
where you're in the aquarium again
With
and Owen
Owen, yeah.
challenges you to hit all the
Yeah.
the
yeah.
targets. with the
One
bow.
shot. Yeah.
I murdered Owen. I was killing him.
Yeah.
I killed that.
He didn't have a chance.
Okay,
It was easy money.
I got that first try. It's very fun. That bow though, the plastic bow, I wish you would have had a real bow.
Yeah. Give me that crossbow. That crossbow was great. Ugh, love that crossbow.
Also, shout out to my meme post for my platinum, by the way. For those who haven't seen it, I managed to get the screenshot trick to work when I took my platinum. So my platinum image is Ellie standing in front of a road work ahead and me making the joke, yeah, I sure hope it does.
Terrible joke.
Because Vine is great and I miss it.
That's an awful joke.
F and chat provide. Also, fun fact, right after that road work ahead sign, the road in fact does not work. It's all water.
That makes the joke even more worse.
All right. So that wraps up The Last of Us 2. And that's going to wrap up this episode. All right. So that does it for episode 41 of the PlayStation.
Oh, we're not even going to
Cast.
say the big notable drop of the week?
I don't
Nah,
care.
there ain't no notable drop.
Sure it is. Ghost
That's
is
right.
Friday.
I forgot.
We've already
'cause-
said that.
Yeah, we've already been there. It's that we
We've
know.
been saying it
Ghost is
all
what's
episode.
next. That's the next thing. Ghost is
We're
coming.
gonna have some thoughts on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be good. So yeah, that's the end of this episode. That's the end of our spoiler cast. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Come on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/PSVG. If you enjoy our content, just check out the other stuff we have there. Throw a couple dollars in the tip jar. And just a special thank you to our producers, Edwin Callow, Barry Cathcart, Josh Bonesaw Barboni, Chris McElfresh, myself, Kyle Hyman, Paul Calicote, Michael Masick, Garauchi Surge, and Nick Far Harbor. We thank you guys all for joining us on the journey that is PSVG. So, with that coming to a close, where can the people find you, Haley?
You can find me over on Twitter at Shepard Zarel. You can find me on your gaming platform of choice at Haley Zarel. And this Friday, 12:01 Eastern, as soon as the game unlocks, you can find me over on twitch.tv/Haley Zarel, where I will be streaming Ghost of Tsushima from the beginning, blind playthrough. Just a heads up, though, I am not playing in Japanese because auditory processing issues. I'd actually like to be able to understand what's going on in this game.
Nice. I'm definitely playing it in Japanese with subtitles, and if there are duels, they will be in black and white.
Heads up, I'm not playing in Japanese because I don't want to.
I mean, that's fair. That's a valid choice.
Yeah. Anime just all sounds better in Japanese.
If you're going to watch an anime, go watch Hellsing Ultimate. It is vampires fighting Nazis.
That's not anime.
That is anime.
That's an animated show. It's not anime.
No, it is anime. It's literally an anime. Go look it up.
Nah. It's vampires. Yes. It's Hellsing. There's no swords and samurai. It's not anime.
Weeb nonsense.
Hey,
yes.
By the way, we're not allowed to use the weeb nonsense anymore.
You brought it to the show.
That's your catchphrase.
Okay, but then somebody got mad, and we're not allowed to use it anymore.
Okay, I'm sorry, whoever that is.
Stupid.
You
internet.
know who it is. It's Carol.
I don't know who it is. I don't pay attention to anything. It was Carol, definitely. I'm sorry, because I love Carol. Carol's awesome.
That's why we don't say it anymore.
You mean
Carol's
you.
awesome.
I stopped saying it as soon as Carol said she had an issue with it. You're the one that brought it back.
Whatever Carol says, I listen to. I'm fine with that.
There it is. And where can people find you, Delvin?
Looking for Jill Scott.
There it is. There it is. You can find me at Dat Ninja Dev pretty much everywhere. And with that, long live play.